Yes, people, how is everyone? Silly question, probably. Oh my god, wow. Ah, while I try and find the words to describe that, what I am going to say is this. There's so many games you play in a season with so many moments in it. 99% of them at the end of the season, you're just not going to remember. You're not going to remember. And I remember every single time in the Premier League, you find moments, that last goal, the Joffrey finish. You've seen the cam when they're all running onto the pitch. In the Bielsa season, you're talking about Villa, you're talking about Blackburn, Norwich. The late winners, those are the moments in the season that you remember. And those are the moments that in 10, 15 years, you'll remember, oh, that's the moment. And that was one right there. It was. Even both of them. The setup. And this is why sport is so good, because you kind of don't care about the 95%. It's all about that 1% that you remember. We won't remember this game. This game won't be remembered. It won't. But that moment will. And I think this season really, really needed that. I can't lie. Once that goal went in, I got emotional. That was this is everything. This is the sport. This is what you love about it. The club, the feeling. This is what it is right here. And these are the moments at the end of the year, next year, the year after, when you go up. These are the moments that you remember. And I'm just so shocked. I'm so happy. It was fantastic. It really was fantastic. And like I said, I'll be honest, this was a game that was highly played by two good teams, two very good teams. And I know people are going to comment about certain individuals, but answer me this. For me, not really any individual for any team didn't really stand out, to be honest. I don't think they did. Isiodor scored, but it was very quiet. And that's because you've got two very good teams with two sets of good players. Two highly tactical players, two highly tactical managers, sorry. So when it comes down to it, it kind of nullifies everything. Everything's nullified. And that's often what you see, unless it's like a big final. Two good teams playing each other isn't always entertaining, because as good as that winger is, that fullback's always very good. So he doesn't quite take him on 2 or 3 times. It's always a bit of a battle between everyone. So that's kind of what happened. Lafay had 2 or 3 moments, but he also had 2 or 3 moments where Bogle back pocketed him. That's kind of the gist of it. Dan James did his men 2 or 3 times, but the 2 or 3 times where he lost it, that's kind of the metric. That's kind of what you get when you have two highly qualified and quality teams playing against each other in games like this. But it's the moments that win you the season. I remember Leicester as well last season. I know it didn't work in the end, but that's the moment you remember, that Archie Gray deflected goal. These are the times that matter, and this is why, and I've been screaming for this, it's so important that you cannot neglect set pieces. You cannot neglect anything like that. Luck is part of football. Look at our goals. One came from Firpo just winning a foul, Rothwell putting it in the box into a good area, and Pascal heading it in. Forget tactics, forget this player this player that. The game didn't come down to that. The game didn't come down to any of that. All the tactics in the game kind of nullified it. Their first goal, it was long and high. We had a high line. Ampadu stepped out a little early. He should have done better. But the fact of the matter is, there isn't really an identified style of play that created any goal. It came down to the little parts of football that you cannot neglect. We're so bad at set pieces, generally speaking. How many corners do we have today? And all it took was one good delivery and one guy willing to head it, getting into a right position, and it goes in. And then even for the second goal, Ramazani has a strike, and he slices it, and it goes wide, they head it out, and it goes back to Rothwell, straight to his feet, who does his man, and just puts it in the box. The keeper should do better than Strauch's there. That's football. That's why you cannot neglect any part of the game. Because most of the time in games like this, tactics don't matter. It comes down to an individual moment, or it comes down to a cross, a deflection, a penalty. That's what happens. That's the way it is. And for a lot of that game, we were just kind of going through it, just waiting for something, just waiting and waiting. And then when Pascal came on and Rothwell came on, they did exactly what they needed to. It was win us the game. In whatever way that was, you're bringing a sub on to impact. they impacted twice. Twice. You know? And I know people are going to say Pascal should have started. Just listen, please listen to what the manager says. He's literally said, like 3 or 4 weeks ago, when everyone was talking about Vobra and the centre-back and do we need to bring in this or that, he did say, many times he said this, by the way, that Ampadu is his number 6 and Strauch is his starting centre-back. So for whatever reason, people seem to think that he's just forgotten that and he don't want to play him. He's not fit for 90 minutes, clearly. When he's fit for 90 minutes, he plays. He always has, he always will. He starts the season, he's played every minute until he was injured. That will happen again. And hopefully that's now, going into Sheffield United. Because Ampadu in the 6 is the one. That's the one I want. And Pascal at the back is the one I want. I don't mind Ampadu at centre-back because he does well. Right? For most of the league, he does well. I do think he does struggle against quick and physical players. Like we saw, his positioning wasn't great, but that's because he's not that. But most of the time, he does well. But I want him in the 6. Badly. Just look at the difference. And this is the little detail that I noted down because I found it really interesting. In the first half, look at most of our fouls. We allowed them out a bit. When we'd lost the ball high up, we allowed them out and they drove and then we'd foul them. Kind of on halfway, a bit higher. Every time Ampadu fouled in that second half, was about 3 or 4 times. He did it very high up. Look how high he did it. Now that is so important. Because then they get the ball deep. And then they're just going to play with it deep. He's so good at identifying where the spaces from midfield are and how they're going to exploit. And he reads it every time. Look how high he is. Just go look. He's almost at the edge of the box. He recognises where the free man is. And he does everything to not let him pass. Most of the time he wins the ball. And when he doesn't, he'll foul him. If he gets beat up there, I'm always shocked. And we needed that because it cut off all to Isiodor. They had no communication, no connection between midfield and him. None. Because we stopped it. And Ampadu was a big part of that. Moving him into midfield. But anyway, I'm so happy, people. You know, I'm kind of glad that this game and Sheffield United are back to back. Because you're in that mentality now. You're in that high kind of level game mentality. You're playing 4th place, which you're a very good team. Lebriz is a top manager. I did a video on him literally before we got Farker, and he's good. He's a good manager. And now you're going into a game that you know might, in its own way, will be just as difficult, if not harder. She played second, back to back, and you're not at Ellen Road this time. So you need a different type of mentality now, slightly different. You got to take this energy. You've got to put it into hard work. You've got to put it into being decisive, being clinical, being deadly. Because that's key now. It's key. But honestly, this game is so good. It's an outstanding result. Outstanding result. The subs worked. Changes worked. Crowd was outstanding. There was a feeling that the scenes at the end of the game are exactly why I love this club. It's why I support this club. I love it. I know every club has moments like that. But for me, that is why I love this sport. That is why I watch it. 90% of the sport is stressful and you hate it and you wish you didn't watch. But for those and bits, you never forget. Strauch had his day-to-day, and you know what? That was for Meslier. It was. He had 2 or 3 moments in that game where he made the saves. 1 and 2 were decent as well. Did his thing. And we went and won it in the last minute, which is when we give it away earlier on in the season at their place. Yeah. I'm knackered. But honestly, now it's time to finish this. It's time to finish it now. They all got in a huddle at the end of the game. They were loving the scenes. Embrace it. Take all that energy in. Know that every single individual, just don't look online because that's false. Every individual in that stadium loves these players. They like them or not is different. When they're playing for Leeds United, they love them. You'd hear that. They back this team. They're behind this team. Everyone's behind this team. Some change like you're flicking on a light bulb. But some people are loyal. Some people stick with these players even when they're struggling. That's important because they need that. Because there's times in games like today where it did look bleak, it did look difficult, but you're relying on the team, the entire squad, to win the games of football, not just the 11, the entire squad. And that's what happened today. Those 11 couldn't do it. The 2 subs came on, we changed it about a little bit, then we did it. That's the sport, that's football, and that's why I love this team. Love it. But yeah. Let me know what you guys think. Shout out to everyone who's given me support recently. I'm in coach mode at the moment, and I will be for the next few months, I'll be honest, because I've got some stuff to pass. So YouTube is kind of burning out a little bit. That's the way it is. So yeah, thank you for everyone's support. You're all legends, and big game on Monday now. Do that, win that, win that. And you just got to go do your thing. You're not far off after that. Go do it now. Harness this energy. Harness what this club is. See you guys in a bit. Bye-bye.